Are you one of the 75% of contractors whose financial statements are inaccurate? Find out. Click on the link in the show notes and you'll get a free P&L and balance sheet check.
This is Contractor Sense with Ruth King.
Welcome to Contractor Sense. Here you discover ideas, tactics, news, and information that matters to your contracting business and you. I'm your host, Ruth King. This episode is sponsored by Financially Fit Business. Make your financial statements come alive. Stay financially healthy this year. Go to www.financiallyfit.business and get started today. Thank you for joining us. Here is how we will help your business and you. What are the common mistakes you as a business owner make in marketing? How can you use digital marketing to increase your inbound leads and profits while working fewer hours and with less stress? Sounds pretty good, huh? My guest today, Robert Murray, answers these questions and more. Robert is co-founder and CEO of Intrigue Media, a digital marketing company that helps businesses that feel stuck increase visibility and quality leads so that they can get back on the growth plan. Robert, welcome to Contractor Sense.
Thanks, Ruth. Appreciate being a part of the show.
My pleasure. All right, when we first started talking about this, and it was like, okay, what are from your perspective, because you do marketing all the time, what are the biggest mistakes that business owners make in marketing?
How much time do we have for this one? Because I want to make sure I focus on the major points.
Yeah, we've got about 8 minutes, and then we take a quick break, and then you got 8 minutes. So you've got a total of about 16 minutes. So
okay, that's all good.
The highlights.
Yeah, that's great. So we have a talk. We talk about the 5 marketing mistakes people make. I think out of the 5, though, we can focus on maybe 2 or 3 of the most important.
Okay.
And the first one, I think people have a tendency to miss is a narrowed focus or a niche. And so a lot of times when it comes to contracting companies, especially when starting to grow, they have something for everybody. They're like a full service, renovation business, and they can do it all in quotes. And what we find is that because they're trying to be something for everybody, they're just they end up in a space where there's no competitive difference. And so as a customer, if I'm trying to find a contractor to say, renovate my bathroom or my basement or my kitchen, and I don't know who to pick, and I go from contractor website to contractor website as I cruise the internet, and everybody says that they are a, say, kitchen renovation company or a basement renovation company or a full service renovation company, I can't tell what makes one company different from the other. And so that will typically lead to price being the main difference.
Yeah, you think about it that way. It's not only, renovation company. Think about an HVAC contractor or a plumbing contractor, and you put their websites side by side and you're a consumer, and they look so much the same.
Exactly. And so what we try to do with our clients is help them focus from a couple of different ways. So we look at essentially like 3 simple ways to begin niching and building a stronger position in a marketplace. The first one is around a specific type of customer. So you might want to be serving the very high end, we're talking $3 million plus types of households, or maybe you want to make it so that you're super accessible and you're actually focusing on a more budget oriented customer. Or maybe it's something to do with the fact that, it's a dual income family that's super busy and doesn't have the time to, give mental space, whatever it might be. Typically, when I talk to these people and people listening to this, we always talk about this idea of an A client, awesome clients, versus B and C clients. So awesome clients are the ones that love your stuff. They smile when they see you. They pay full price. They refer others, and, they welcome you in for a glass of wine when you're done the project. A B customer isn't necessarily awesome, but they're close. They can become an A client. Maybe they're not spending as much. Maybe the project wasn't as big or whatever, but they're still good clients. And they're C clients, complainers. They're the ones that suck the life out of our days and our companies every day. And so what we need to do is focus on the A clients. Now, when I ask somebody and people listening, it's like, who is an A client, awesome client that you've worked with in the past? And what do they look like? What's their name? And then are there others that are similar? When we start to focus on the customer type, so in this case, the actual person that's buying from you, we can start to understand the problems they have. And let's just say, for the same example we were talking about before, if you're focused on the $3 million plus household, the odds of them expecting a very high level of service is pretty good. And so if we position our entire website and presence around how we're customer service oriented and we're very communicative and responsive and we're there every step of the way and you don't have to think about anything and we'll just make sure that the whole thing is seamless and stress-free, that's going to speak better than, say, a budget conscious customer who's going to want to maybe be a bit more involved to save some money. So there's a customer type. The next thing you could do is like a house type. You could be a really good contractor for second homes. You might understand the nuances if you're in plumbing, the fact that you actually have turn off and turn on services because they actually don't live there during the wintertime, as an example. Another way would be the type of project that you want to do. So you could become like the basement renovation specialist, or in the term of HVAC, maybe you become the geothermal specialist or whatever it might be. But the idea is you're focusing your effort around the type of service you deliver and you become the expert at that. Those types of positions, whether it's through the customer, the property type, or the job type, do a couple of things. One is it allows you to speak to the problems, which is mistake number 3. A lot of people talk about themselves too much when they're marketing. They don't talk about their customer. And they forget that people from a customer point of view really only care about one of 2 things. It's accomplishing a goal or solving a problem. And often, far too often, people speak about themselves, the years of experience they've got, the quality of equipment that they use, the whatever it might be, the history of the business. That turns out people don't really care. They care about accomplishing their goals and solving their problems. And so the more focused we are with the type of customer we're working for, we can speak to those problems and how to accomplish those goals much better than if we're trying to do something for everybody. And so without becoming positioned or niched, it's difficult to identify what type of customer you're trying to solve a problem for. And so the more narrow we get, the easier it is to speak to those common problems we see time and time again. And yes, there's less people in the market, but when they do find you, because you're a basement renovation specialist or you're the geothermal, specialist, and they're looking for that, then you're the choice, not a choice. And that's a big deal with maintaining pricing power.
All right. So can it be geographic or does it have to be type of business?
What do you mean exactly?
So let's say that we service all of the houses in this particular geographic area in this subdivision or something along those lines. Is that enough of a differentiator, or does it have to be by income or by, the type of business that you do?
It depends. I think it's a start. If there's other people though that service that same area, if there's nuance to the area, and there's nuance to the builders, there's nuance to the homes, and you're a specialist of those homes and that subdivision, as long as you can speak to those differences and how you understand them better than everybody else, then it's a position. But if it's just the fact that we work here, not there, then I wouldn't say it's a very strong position. It's still a position, but not necessarily as strong. It's a little different with outdoor services. So things like exterior renovations or landscape construction, because like soil and rock and what makes up the outside of homes and the weather of those places has more impact than it would say on plumbing or interior renovation. So I think it could be a position. It's a start, and I would take a start over nothing.
Okay, cool. All right. Before we take a break, if somebody wants to get in contact with you, how do they do it?
Intriguemedia.com, and you can just fill out the contact form or request a discovery call. You can also find Robert Murray on LinkedIn.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks for listening to Contractor Sense. We'll be right back.
Imagine you had total freedom. You didn't have to worry about money. You didn't have to be a slave to your business. The words, "I can't," are eliminated from your vocabulary. What if you could do what you want to do, whenever you want to do it? A financially fit business could give you that freedom. How? By knowing what your financial statements are telling you and taking action based on what they say. You can do this in less than 10 minutes a month at an investment of less than taking your family out to dinner once a month. And if your financial statements are a mess, you can get help. Go to www.financiallyfit.business or click on the QR code below to get started today.
We're back. Thanks for listening to Contractor Sense. I am talking with Robert Murray, who is the co-founder and CEO of Intrigue Media. And we've been talking about the 5 greatest mistakes, or some of them. We're not going to get into all of them. We don't have enough time today to do that. But you can go to his website, intriguemedia.com, and find out, what they all are and request a discovery call too, correct?
Oh yeah, 100%. On our website, under resources, there's a blog series about each of the 5 mistakes.
All right, so we've done the first one, i.e. not niching. Give me another one.
Okay, cool. I think this one's the most important, especially for people, say under $1 million. And actually anybody, but one of the biggest mistakes we see time and time again is people come to us, and the most common inquiry we get for our business is we want help with our social media. And this comes from a couple of different areas. One is they're too busy to do it. They don't know how to do it well. When they go to do it, they don't know what to say. And they consume social media themselves personally, so they think it's where people look when it comes to finding stuff. What we find out very quickly is that people are actually inquiring not because they need help with social media, but because they want more customers. And so when we're thinking about marketing, the idea of what's the business outcome we want to accomplish, that question needs to be answered before we start. And all too often we see people looking at brand visibility. They want to be seen more in the community. They want to have more followers or more presence online, but those goals don't accomplish an outcome. And I can tell you from experience, writing checks to a company that helps you get brand visibility and more online presence gets old quick if revenue doesn't start to grow.
Yeah, that's the idea. It's
So
revenue, minor detail.
If that's the case, then let's make our marketing goal support our revenue goal. And well, how do we do that? Well, the first thing is we need to start with a goal in mind, and marketing for, contractors, plumbing, HVAC, interior, exterior renovators, whatever it might be, usually can start with like a good goal is a cost per lead. How much money does it take me to have somebody phone me or inquire through a form?
Mm-hmm.
A cost per qualified lead, which is even better. It's like, how many leads does it take to get a qualified lead? So sometimes it's like a 4-to-1 ratio. So what's my cost per qualified lead? And if we really want to incorporate the sales process, we get to the best goal, which is customer acquisition cost. So let's just say, for argument's sake, my average deal size is $10,000. My gross margin is 40%. I'm making $4,000 on a project when a customer comes in. And then let's say I generate a lead for $100, but it takes 400 leads to get a qualified lead. So that's $400. And then it takes 4 qualified leads to get a customer. That means it's going to cost me $1,600 to get a customer for $10,000 with a 40% gross margin. So I spend 16, I make 4,000. That's a $2,200 or $2,400 gross margin increase or contribution.
Okay.
That's when we start looking at revenue and marketing together as a revenue model. And so we need to understand our numbers. And if we can make our marketing goal about generating the lead and then understand how many of those leads are qualified and how many of those turn into customers, we can start to build a benchmark.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first year might be really difficult because you're like, I don't know, cost per lead should be 100, but ends up being 4. Well, the next year it's like, well, what can we do to make it better? And so this is where a little bit of discipline and measurement go a really long way.
Yeah, if you don't measure it, you don't know what's working.
100%.
Yeah, from there. All right, give me another one.
Another mistake?
Yeah.
Sure. There's very little industry benchmarking, or people aren't looking from their peers around what's working and how well they're doing relative to the industry. Because a customer might be spending, let's say, 50 grand a year on marketing. And from their point of view, things are going pretty good. They've got some new customers coming in, they're making money, they're growing 10, 15% a year, whatever it might be. Well, if the industry is growing at a rate of 20% and their peers are growing at a rate of 25, a 10 to 15% growth rate is actually not ideal. But we'll never know that unless we understand what the rest of the industry is up to. And so working with a company that's specialized in your area of business, or a marketing company that's specialized in your area of business, can be beneficial because they can understand how well things are working across the industry or across dozens, if not hundreds of other customers in a similar business. But also I would suggest that peer groups are a big deal, whether it's industry peer groups or just calling up, people that are in the space that through associations. Understanding what's working from others to help yourself understand how well you're doing among your peers is a very big deal. Because if you're killing it and you're doing a really good job, but you're trying to bleed a rock, it can be a frustrating exercise, and vice versa. So understanding how you stack up against everybody else is a big thing that people don't usually look at.
Yeah, the question is, a lot of times people hear, let's say, an ad on television from one of their competitors, and their competitor is spending money at this particular TV station. You have no clue whether that ad
Is doing anything.
is doing any good or not. You know that, you saw it because you're in the industry and you're paying attention, but that does not necessarily mean that they're generating enough revenue from those ads to make them worth it.
100%.
And I promise you, a lot of them won't tell you either.
No, I mean they might, but I think you're onto something. And the whole idea with all of this is making sure you're spending your money in the right spots. And so one of the things that we also help people focus on is that, like, typically people don't have a budget to be across all parts of a buyer journey. If we really oversimplify a marketplace, we talk about this idea of like tofu, mofu, and bofu. So top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of the funnel. In any given market, there's only 3% of the market that's ready to make a purchase. That's the bottom of the funnel. People that want to buy, they want to find a quote. And if you want to market at all three phases, top of the funnel, people in a marketplace know they have a problem. So it's like, I have a leaky roof. I'm in the market because I have a leaky roof. Now, middle of the funnel is, should I repair it myself? Should I find a handyman? Should I replace my entire roof? Am I doing a big overhaul construction? How do I figure out the solution to my problem? And then there's, okay, I found the solution. I want to hire somebody. That's the bottom. Very few companies, say under 10 million, have enough budget to market effectively to all three stages. And so what we try to help people understand when it comes to good return on investment is the first place to start is in search, whether it's Google ads, local service ads, Google Maps, Google Business Profile, or organic search. It's marketing 101. Be where your customers are. And we want to be there when they're looking for the service we do. And then from there, you can get into paid social media. There's opportunities for really strong email approaches that a lot of people forget. But we would say that your website and understanding how to do well with search, both organic and paid, is like the core focus for the first year or two when you're starting to get into an online marketing program.
Sounds good. All right, Robert, give us your your website again, please.
Yeah, of course. It's intriguemedia.com.
Very good. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for letting me be a part of it, Ruth.
My pleasure. And thanks to all of you for joining us. Choose one thing that you discovered and implement it in your business. These ideas, tactics, and strategies help you make more money, have more free time, and give back. If you like today's program, spread the word. Please review this podcast on any device you're listening to it on. Help a fellow contractor make more money too. For comments or questions, call me at 770-729-0258 or email Ruth King at hvacchannel.tv. Thanks for listening. Have a great and profitable day.